Welcome to Cocktails, Tangents, and Answers, the podcast where we explore the latest and greatest in marketing and technology. In today's episode, we're discussing the emergence of ChatGPT, a new chatbot that uses advanced natural language processing to have intelligent conversations with customers. ChatGPT is the latest in a long line of chatbots, but its ability to understand and respond to complex questions sets it apart from the rest. Tune in as we explore the potential of ChatGPT to revolutionize customer service and discuss how businesses can integrate it into their marketing strategies. Cheers! If that sounded a little bit more rehearsed than we usually are, it's because it is. Zach, you want to tell us how we landed at that particular intro?
Yeah, of course. So that intro was created by ChatGPT. All I did was give it the prompt, make an intro for a podcast called Cocktails, Tangents, and Answers, and the episode will be over ChatGPT. So that's what it pumped out, and man, I think that's insane.
It is startlingly good.
So you didn't give it
My
like
husband.
marketing and technology as topics or anything?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part too. I said it was a marketing podcast. Thank you for bringing that up. But
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
Okay.
said it's
Because I
a
was like, or
marketing
did it just
podcast
crawl?
called
It's a genius.
It listened to all of our past episodes at 10x speed and
In
cranked that out.
13 seconds. So that my husband came home from work. He is in tech service, like customer service for a
hmm
TV company. And a lot of his role is focused on more efficiently helping their customers solve their problems. And so they were experimenting a little bit. And he came home and was telling me about this. And I was like, this, because I've seen chatbots before, like we've all seen, and it's like robotic and terrible. And they like
hmm
don't speak like humans, right? So he's like, no, this one is legit. And let me show you. So then he proceeded to tell the chatbot to write a sonnet in the style of Shakespeare about my butt.
Oh,
And then it was decent, which was terrifying.
so you
And then,
brought
so
that
like it
script
wrote
with
the
you?
first one. Yeah. So it wrote the first one. And I was like, this is ridiculous, but also thank you for the compliment, I guess. And then he was like, now watch this. And he's like, make it like more lewd. And so then it like rewrote the thing and made it like,
Nasty.
but it was like Middle English lewd. So like,
Oh.
yeah. So like still using the characteristics of like Shakespearean English,
Uh-huh.
but it was, yeah. I
I mean,
don't remember what it said, but it was pretty funny.
there was plenty of lewd going on back at that time.
Oh,
So
100%. People have been gross weirdos since the dawn of time. I think
so
that's indisputable.
I think what everybody's going to wonder though is where is this sonnet? Like, are you going to recite it at the end for
No,
us,
I
or
won't be doing that.
get that E mark on this one? Which
Mhm.
so far
Yeah.
so good. Wow.
I didn't save it, but I am curious to know, like, because I think it learns from itself too, like, because you can give it feedback, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but it's it's creepy and also fascinating. And the line is real blurry between the two for me.
Yeah, it's the whole AI thing is an interesting
Mhm.
territory going down. And like it's amazing that we're here when like that the first time they tried this, they kind of like let loose an AI with I think Twitter basically, and
Mhm.
it was able to learn from only Twitter, and within like 10 minutes it was a racist Nazi
Yep.
and they had
Yeah.
to shut it
Yep.
down.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Mhm.
But what's interesting about this one is it does seem to stay focused on your topic, and it really tries to pull things contextual around there. And just, I
Mhm.
mean, just reading that like opening, like that could be a script, like
Right.
a little bit self-serving, like how it sets
ChatGPT
itself
is the
apart
best
from the
bot on the
rest.
planet.
Yeah, right. Like, but it like it's like kudos to that. Like toot your own horn, Chat GPT.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little bit nuts. So we'll get into that, but I think that before we do, I could sure use a drink. Could you use a
Yeah.
drink?
Please.
So I am not familiar with this week's alcohol drink.
I'm not either. I'm not sold on this, Zach.
Okay.
Giostra D'Alcol?
Yeah, it's an
Delete?
interesting
D'Alcol, I
one.
think there's a
Delco
typo in
Oh,
that.
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Which translates
there's
to
the thing.
alcoholic carousel, which, I mean, a carousel of alcohol sounds wonderful, but being
Does it
on a
though? Because
carousel
that
while
sounds like
drinking,
bad college choices
right?
if you're on
Well,
the carousel of alcohol.
you're right, it does. I think that's like you put it on a lazy Susan in the middle of the table and just spin it. Um, um, yeah, that's a little bit wild. So, it's a Campari drink, which I'm really great with. Um,
Mhm.
60 milliliters of Barbera d'Asti, um, and then your Campari, 30 milliliters, and then Cedrata, which is a lemon soda drink. So I think you could probably put any lemon soda drink in there. Um, and then a
Lemon
square of cheese
lime.
and a square of tempered dark chocolate, which goes, I think, is the garnish across the top. So,
The Okay, 2 things. Just
mhm.
like we're throwing like a cheese cube in, which I'm not mad about. I love charcuterie.
I mean,
That's
a
great.
snack with your drink is always a good thing.
No,
It's
welcome. Why does it have to be tempered dark chocolate? Like, that's just an extra step of nonsense.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, it came about
You
in
had to, like, melt it
1931.
and then re-harden it.
Yeah, somebody was trying
Like
too hard, I think. So this is from, let's see, we've got a little history here in the notes. Officially
okay.
presented at the International Colonial Exhibition in Paris in 1931.
Oh,
So we're coming out of the Great Depression and just feeling like we need a stupid drink with
let's get
cheese and
weird. Yeah.
complicated chocolate. Um, oh, and it was drunk under a spectral green light after a gong had been struck. So we've also got a show with our snack and our beverage. Um, I feel like we could recreate this. It seems fun. Um, the cheese is just there because it's eccentric. So you're right. We're just getting crazy, getting a little freaky.
Yeah.
Put some cheese on there. Um, and the chocolate is really the pairing with the liquid, apparently. And I
Mhm.
don't know, as though tempering it makes a change in the taste. I
No,
think
it's
just the
just
chocolate
the appearance. It just
would
makes it shiny.
work. Um, so yeah. But I mean, also, like, can we talk about this being a wine-based drink? Like,
Mhm.
right? Barbera
Yeah.
d'Asti. And I had a car once. So BMW at one point was naming their colors after alcohol, and it was Barbera Red. And that's how we discovered Barbera, which is actually a very lovely wine. I I feel weird about putting Campari and lemon lime soda in it.
Yeah. I don't I don't know. I don't I guess I stand by my initial assessment. I'm not sold on this.
All right. Well, we don't have them with us today. I do have Barbera at home. I actually have all of
Okay.
these things at home.
Yeah.
I will make it, and then on a future podcast we'll talk about it. But I'll
Okay.
definitely tweet you about it, or based on our last one, I'll mastodon
I
you.
yeah, I think we need to amend our previous episode and say that like the end of Q1 2023, Twitter will not make it that long. It's
I mean,
not
I
going
don't
to
know.
happen.
Now we've got the poll about like should Elon step down that he put out, and
It's
it's
gone.
57% like said yes, he should step down.
Mhm.
Who he gets replaced with, we'll see. But apparently, Tom from MySpace was in the comments and more than willing to jump in and run Twitter for a bit. So
Huh.
I think that would be
What I
wonderful.
wonder what he's been up to since 2002.
Just, I think, spending money and laying low and probably living well.
Yeah.
So,
Not
yeah,
blowing billions of dollars on an unmonetizable platform,
right. Build something
talking a
from
big
scratch and
game.
then sell it for, I don't know how much MySpace sold for. I should know that. It's in one of my classes that I teach, but um,
Eh,
making some
should
bank.
get Clips Notes for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All
Yep.
right. All right. I think weird
Let's get
alcohol.
Logan in here. I'm
Let's yeah,
excited.
let's
I haven't had a chance to really get to know Logan super well. So, the fact that I get to do it live on the air. I mean, live
yeah,
to me,
live recorded, yeah.
live-ish. Yeah.
Live in front of a studio audience. Zach and I will
Please
be your
no.
studio audience.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
interesting. So we're going to talk ChatGPT with Logan, who is a new employee, and kind of interested in all things tech and finance.
Yeah.
and digital.
Yeah.
So I think time for a dance break, and we'll be back.
Let's get to it. All right, welcome back, Logan. Thank you
Hello,
for
Yay!
joining
hello.
us.
And I stayed, by the way.
Hi. I was saying that I haven't really had a chance to like get to know you. And so I'm excited to do this. We said live, which is true for us, but not true for anyone who might actually be listening to
I
this.
mean,
So,
for them, 4 days ago it was live when you jump
right.
forward.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we also call that the Caitlin 20 questions grilling that typically happens when you
But it's
join.
like pleasant. I'm nice.
It's
Not
only
like
scared a
weird.
couple of people.
Yeah, I don't think I've
Yeah.
been grilled
Um,
yet.
And they've stuck around. I
no,
know.
you really haven't.
Yeah, it's been a weird couple of months probably like since you started. I've been like very work from homey because we've been doing so many projects. So we've been like ships passing in the
Right.
night or day because like we work during the day. Um so with that, I would like to know some of your background and then why you decided to work here with us weirdos.
Yeah, so I'm currently at school at USD. Um
Yeah.
right,
University of
University of
South
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 Dakota.
Dakota.
Dakota, yes, especially for my
Not
California friends.
It's
Very
just like
confusing
an
out there.
yeah.
They have
South
a USD and an SDSU, except USD theirs colors are blue and gold, where
Uh
here SDSU is blue and gold, and
it's
SDSU out
all like
there is red and black. We're here USD. It's
and
very, very
ESPN
confusing.
can never get it right. Like the South Dakota State football team is
yeah.
doing really well right now, and they were misidentified
Oh
again
my.
on ESPN
Is
because
San Diego State?
yeah,
I don't think San Diego
yeah.
State has a great football program.
It's
Basketball's
like
good.
in like a mid-major situation. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
So,
that's
welcome
not
to
the
the
point.
tangents part of the episode, Logan.
It's in our
So,
name.
all right.
It's
So
what
you got as
endears
far
us
as
to
you're
people.
at USD, the one in
Right, the
South
one in South
Dakota. I'll
Dakota.
shut up now and let you continue.
Um yeah, and I just graduated from a community college here in Sioux City. I got a degree in business administration, an associate's degree, and now I'm studying finance with a couple minors in computer science and Chinese language. Um, yeah,
What?
so
That's freaking
yeah, so
fascinating.
pretty busy with 3 different fields of studies and then marketing now as well.
No kidding.
But
Just, like, dipping
yeah,
your toe in. Can I ask what made you choose Chinese language? That's, like, this is legitimately fascinating to me. Do you have a, like,
no, I
connection to
don't.
that somehow?
So it's mostly because I'm a business major and I want to work in international business. So I figured if I do end up working in international business, it's highly likely I'll work with people from China. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. I
really
had
amazing and smart.
the
Like, really smart.
so I had a plan to go study in China for a semester in starting in January, but that got postponed because I wasn't able to get a student visa because of the lockdowns that they're in right now. It's loosening up right now, so hopefully in the
They
future.
Yeah. Yeah. I I did a little bit of study abroad time when I was in college for Spanish language, and that was easily one of the most like rewarding and galvanizing experiences. So if the opportunity presents itself,
Right. I'm
absolutely
excited.
do
Where'd
it.
you go?
You
Yeah,
won't
I
regret
never.
it. I spent 3 weeks in Guatemala at a language school. So like I was
Right.
doing intensive like 4 hours a day one-on-one language tutoring um in Spanish. And then right after I graduated, I actually lived in Honduras for a year and taught at a
Very
bilingual
cool.
school. So I taught
And I'm just.
English and then in my
I'll
free
just
time learned
bring
a lot
up
of
like.
Spanish.
So I believe, sorry to interrupt you, but not sorry, because in one of our first episodes, if not the first episode, I believe your time in Honduras did come up.
It came up and then
Um,
we have never
we haven't
discussed it
revisited
again,
that. So we should probably, in a future intro, maybe
right?
revisit this Honduras
All right.
life that we didn't
Yeah.
know. I've never lived anywhere exotic, unfortunately, and didn't get
Yeah.
to do a study abroad. Got to do a trip to Mexico City Mexico City,
Mhm.
Puerto Vallarta, and Guadalajara when I graduated high school with my high school Spanish class, but that was
High
it.
school Spanish was
Yeah,
going
that's
on
pretty.
trips. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, we had to pay
Okay.
for it ourselves, but it was
Right.
great.
So, kind of business,
Mhm.
primarily finance. Did you just like happen upon this job and you were like, that seems interesting?
Yes.
Or
So I was
how did
applying
you
for
get here?
jobs as my last job was coming to an end. I was working on a congressman's campaign. Um, so that expired when midterm elections happened. So I was applying to jobs, and
Yeah. Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing which candidate or is that like proprietary
it was
information? I'm
Steve Hansen
curious.
who lost.
Steve, yeah, I know Steve. Like I know Steve. He is who lost. He is just like the kindest
Yeah, he's very
man.
nice.
Oh,
Was he
shoot.
running in
He's
South
running
Dakota
in a
or
Mhm.
local, no, it's Sioux City,
oh, Sioux City?
Senate or
He's
House. Is he our
Congress.
House? See, this is
Yeah.
terrible. He was a representative. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I got it. I got it.
Oh, okay. So,
State Congress. Yeah.
Yep.
got it. Okay,
He's
yeah, I
also
mean,
the
Yeah,
Sioux City
director.
Museum, public museum, right?
oh,
Thank you. I was like, I can't remember what his
Yeah.
title
I
is,
know
but
him. That's
yeah,
crazy.
he's just like
Yeah.
yeah, the
Very nice
nicest.
guy.
Anyway, okay.
Um, so as
Steve.
that was coming to an end, I was looking for new jobs in the area, and I came across this marketing job, and I thought that it would be good opportunity as my last internship over the summer. I was working as a financial rep intern, and I did a lot of like
Mhm.
sales. So I figured out that there's a lot of marketing that goes into financial services. A lot of the financial advisors were doing their own
Mhm.
marketing, so I thought that this would be a great opportunity where I could be exposed to this industry and hopefully gain some skills. Um, right.
Brilliant. Guys, he keeps getting smarter.
Yeah, I
The
mean, and
longer
it's
we talk, the smarter he gets.
sort
Well,
of like
you just
Yep.
turned 21, so, like, you have a lot of things figured out for being 21 and nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Thank you.
the kids are all right, guys. The kids
they
are all
are.
right.
They are. I was gonna say, just like ChatGPT, he learns more the more you talk to him.
He's learning as
He's
it's
learning
happening.
and
Yeah.
advancing. So
So
yeah, and you're
through
also
all
doing a
that
little bit of
Yep.
bookkeeping for us too. We're tapping into that
yes,
finance piece,
praise.
which is great. Cool. So, what got you interested in ChatGPT, like, or AI in general?
So AI is very fascinating. It's
Mhm.
has so
Mm-hmm.
much capabilities, and but so much of it is still unknown. I feel like it's still in its very early ages of development. But specifically, what made me interested in Chat GPT was when I saw an advertisement about it. It was like some students were posting their code on there, and it was going through the code that they wrote and giving it suggestions. So I thought that was very cool, as I'm just now
Yes.
learning code,
Yes.
so thought that it would be a good resource that I could utilize.
Yeah, I've got a
It's like a
friend.
Mhm.
fact checker almost, right? Like, it'll go through and find errors, or
And
you can have it
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
write, like,
Mm-hmm.
super simple or sometimes more
Mhm.
complex things. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
Yes.
a friend of a friend who manages a very large website that's like a database driven one. And he gave ChatGPT access to the database and to the code. And he said it can write code. He said the code that it writes for him, it would take him like 10 minutes to do,
Mhm.
but it'll
Yeah.
do it in 2 seconds.
Seconds. Yep.
And he said he started out like really doubting it, but the code was coming out perfect. And it was using what it knows from the internet, but also his previous code to
Mhm.
code new modules and new pieces, which was fascinating to me. That like, because I get the writing the paragraph
Yeah.
like our intro, and I understand how that works. And some ad companies and tech companies have had that for a couple of years now. But to be able to cleanly write code, like
Right.
holy cow!
And so, like, I was putting some smaller codes in there that I had errors with, and the way it can articulate what the error is and how you can fix it is crazy. So, like most coding softwares,
Mhm.
they recognize that you have an error and they won't run your code, but they can't articulate it in a way that is easy to understand, like at all.
Yeah, it like makes it
They're
red or
engineering it
Hmm.
something. Like it'll
instead
make
of
it. Yeah, it's like the wrong color, so you
Yeah.
know it's an error, but it doesn't
Hmm.
tell you how to fix it
Yeah.
or what's going on with it. No context. So,
I am curious if you are nervous slash scared about it, or like the AI in general, or if you are like full steam ahead.
Um, so I feel like a lot of people are nervous about AIs, but I'm not one of them. I I'm very
Okay.
interested in
same.
what they can do, and like ChatGPT, I don't see it as something that is necessarily like gonna steal jobs per se. I see it as it's gonna be something
Hmm.
that's gonna improve productivity.
Like an efficiency tool as opposed to
Yeah.
like a full
Be-
replacement. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
the bloggers that I've heard using it generally use it to
Mhm.
get them started, and then they go
uh-huh.
through and do like
Right.
major edits to it,
Yep.
versus using it completely. Though I'm sure there's somebody out there, and you're in college, who are
I'm
using it to
sure.
write their term
Yeah,
papers.
Right.
definitely. No, of
But
course.
never Logan. Logan would never.
Well, also fair warning to anybody doing that. And I teach a couple classes, but there is a Chat GPT detector that the people who created Chat GPT
Wow,
actually made that teachers and others can use to see if copy was written with Chat GPT
that's a
or
good
not.
resource.
So be warned. Yeah, it is.
I
I've got that thing
do
bookmarked.
I do think that it is worth mentioning. So like I'm not like full speed ahead on AI, but I think there's value and I do think it's like interesting and fascinating to watch it be developed. But I'm curious to see how this and like future tools will adjust for racial and gender diversity, because that has been proven time and again to be lacking in past
Hmm.
tools, where even like the automated like sink stuff, like when you go into a restroom and you try and
Yeah.
like turn the sink on, there's differences in the way that those sensors respond to
Hmm.
darker skin, like they
Hmm.
don't turn on as quickly or at all in some cases, and those kinds of like user errors can be extrapolated then into like further technology. And so I'm like cautiously optimistic that knowing what we know now, there will be adjustments made, but I also know that women and minorities are grossly underrepresented in STEM fields, and so to correct for those things will be like a conscious
Yeah.
necessity.
Have you tried any of that, Logan? Have you played with any like gender fluid copy in Chat GPT, or is it mostly just
No,
code?
Oh,
nothing like
that's
that.
fascinating.
The only thing that I've worked with on GTP on ChatGPT is like just very basic code that doesn't really do too much extravagant things.
Mhm.
Uh, as I'm only in my first semester of computer science, so I don't know too much.
But to your point, Caitlin, like with the way it's detecting errors in the code, it would be really interesting if it could detect
Mm.
bias in the code as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that'll be something to like dig into a little further. But it's like, yeah, can technology solve the problems that we've created through technology?
But like I think the technology is only as like diverse and aware as the people that are creating it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
I think it'll be interesting to see because the way that ChatGPT gathers its information, if it's writing for something, for instance,
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see if it can pick up on that.
Mhm.
I mean, so far, it's not spewing out like torrid, racist, or like, white
Nonsense
supremacist
garbage.
info
Yeah.
like some AIs have done in the past. But um, I'll be curious to think that where that goes. I'm 100% with you too on the AI is totally fine. I welcome our technological overlords when they arrive. It'll be fine. The way our house is wired and automated, either we are going to be like their first assistants and like high up in
Mhm.
the food chain, or we're
Yeah.
going to be dead
One of the
immediately.
two.
One of the two. Like either our microwave is going to kill us, or it's going to put us into subservience of the refrigerator, and we will move on from there. So
You'll be restocking the refrigerator that's supposed to restock itself. Is that like the idea? Or
Well, I mean, even if it had an automated picker pull stuff from a grocery store and an automated car brought it to the house, I guess we could get a robot to bring it into the refrigerator.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That's freaky.
Like
That's a little
logistics
freaky.
and shipping to figure that stuff out is also fascinating. Like I know a little bit about it, but not enough to actually solve a problem. I welcome the efficiency because if there was a moment where I didn't have to go to the grocery store and put the things in my car and then also put them into my home, I would
Yeah.
pay money
That
for
would be
that
nice.
times 1,000,
It would be
right?
nice. I don't think ChatGPT is
Um,
going to get us there,
I was
though.
like, I don't think this is the tool that's going to
It'll
solve it.
politely tell you what's going
yeah.
on, maybe. So rolling back a little bit, because we've got a few minutes left. So we've talked about like actually writing things and writing like a
Mhm.
composition or a paragraph, or I mean, it does movie scripts, poems. We talked about your butts on it,
Mhm.
Caitlin, on the intro that Logan didn't have the pleasure of hearing us about.
We'll talk about
Um,
it offline.
but it does more. So like, and we talked about fixing and debugging code. But you actually said it also does a really good job of
Mhm.
explaining to you what's wrong with the code. And from what I've read, that's another thing it can do. You can just say, Chat GPT, tell me how, you know, automated voice
Yeah.
control works or whatever. And it'll try to
Mhm.
explain it to you in very human,
Mhm.
understandable terms how that works.
Yeah, I think that this is especially helpful for people trying to learn. I think that this can the way that it because for computer science, like
Mhm.
my professor is not always available, right? But ChatGPT, if I have a question, I can ask it and it can help lead me to an answer that I may not have found otherwise, or maybe lead me to a different question that when my professor actually has time, I'll be able to ask them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's to like up to this point, the like knowledge synthesis has been what's missing, where it's like previous versions of things could spit out
Hmm.
facts,
Hmm.
but whether it was able to like ingest the information and then come up with and generate a reasonable answer and contextualize it appropriately has been what's lacking.
Yeah, I mean, I think about when you ask like the early days of Siri and Alexa and
Mhm.
Hey Google and all that. And apologies to anybody if I've triggered your device if you've got this
Right.
playing.
Turn it off.
When you would ask a question, and the thing that drove me crazy is here's some things I found on the internet, and it just gives you a
Yeah.
list of links. And if this could overcome that and it could actually explain it to me without like kind of intuitively know which of those things is the right one to talk to me about and explain it versus just being like, here, you can click this link on this tiny screen and, or I can read
Right.
it to you, this entire web page. Um, and think about like for people with disabilities, like that could be amazing, absolutely
Mhm.
incredible, to have, that voice technology or even a visual technology that
Mhm.
would
Yeah.
riff off of this. It's like I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
I know. We're gonna have to circle back to this one.
Well,
More
I know
Honduras, more
more
AI.
Honduras, more AI. I know that I'm gonna go sit down and have it write a blog post for me that I can give to Zach to put on our website because
I
why
thought
not?
about like I had it write one for my photography business. I was like, just because I was curious. I haven't published it or anything, but I have it sitting like just waiting and it's reasonable. Like 3 points, an intro,
Hmm.
closing, like
Well, and
it's
the other thing, product descriptions. So, I
yeah.
mean, I've got a friend who actually he writes product descriptions for it's not Macy's, Nordstrom maybe, but like that's what he does. Like they
Mhm.
send him a shirt and he writes the flowery
Mhm.
paragraph about it and he does
Yeah.
hundreds of those a day. And I've heard that this is actually really good at that.
Uh-huh.
Um, where you give it like a description of the item and features of the item and it can write you, 5 sentences about it. Um, It'd be cool if
That's
you could like
brilliant.
grab your phone, and for those, I'm holding up my phone because we're on video, but this will go out with audio, and like take a picture of it and be like, write me a description of this.
Mhm.
And it would be like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo, here it is."
Yeah.
So should we be scared of this? Logan, you're not
I don't
scared.
think
Should we be
so.
scared?
I don't know. I think most of the fear that comes along with robots and AIs is from the fear of a singularity that it's just going to take over. Um, which I mean, I'm
Hmm.
not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Al. I can't do that.
We're inching
Or one
Yeah,
of
ever
those.
closer.
we could be getting closer, but I don't know. I guess it's just not something that fears me. I appreciate using the technology. I enjoy it. I think it improves quality
Hmm.
of life for most people that have access to it. Um, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It
That's
is
our
kind of an
takeaway. Don't fear the
equalizer in
internet
love.
overlords.
And it is kind of an equalizer for some people. I would think that it
Mhm.
could also like help people with English, like as a second language or just as a
Mm,
first language that you need to be
Yeah,
better at.
it did some
yep.
Um,
translations for Chinese too, and I tried for a couple different languages. It knows more than just English, and it knows it very well. So I asked it to translate something in Arabic, and I have an Arabic speaking friend that speaks Arabic natively, and he said that's really good Arabic. It's not just like Google translated Arabic. It sounds like natural Arabic.
Yeah.
so then it needs to do the scripts and subtitles for all the TV shows that I watch in another language because the dubbing
Yep.
is always terrible. We've obviously switched to just
Yeah.
subtitles on everything now. But watching a couple of shows in Spanish and shifting to the subtitles. But even then, like there's things that I catch with my limited retention of Spanish where I'm like, I don't think that's actually what
I don't
they
think that's
said.
it.
But
Yeah.
I get it, but it'd be interesting to see it like for that too, or for like closed
Mhm.
captioning, for live captioning actually, which are always terrible. Like live captioning is so hilarious to watch. But could this be a tool that would listen to that verbal input and almost instantaneously accurately put out
Yeah, that would
what
be
it's
very cool.
hearing? So
Mhm.
much potential.
We should be writing all this down.
Yeah, we should be. Well, we can go back and listen to the episode on Thursday and write it all down.
Yeah.
Or we could just have like, Google Docs record it for us or transcribe it,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
that, which is kind of terrible. I've tried using it for transcription and it's not the best. So
Hmm.
anything that
Maybe this
makes it
will solve
better.
all of our problems.
Well, it can't solve all of them. Maybe it'll solve all the problems that alcohol doesn't.
Maybe.
Mm, I think that would be a different problem.
It would be a different
Mm.
problem.
We don't have
All
time
right.
for that today.
So don't fear it. Don't use it to
Right.
cheat. Use it
Right.
for good, not evil.
Yeah.
And then we won't have to fear the singularity taking over in my lifetime anyway.
Jury's still out for the rest of us.
All right.
But
Well, thank you, Logan, for
Yeah, of
joining
course.
for this. And you really didn't get a ton of grilling from Caitlin. Like usually there's a whole lot more questions. I'm sure those are going to come after this since you guys are in the same location
we'll be
today.
around. Yeah.
She also peppers
Yeah,
them out, over
that's
time.
fair.
So
It's not like firing squad. I like a like a little
Okay.
ease into it. I
her
wanna see
favorite is when you say something, you mention something like, oh, yeah, I'm studying Chinese. It'll be, tell me more about that.
I wanna know more about that. Mhm.
Very
Mhm.
much like
Yeah.
Honduras. I want to know more
Yeah.
about that on a future episode
All
with
in
Well,
good
Zach.
I'll be
time.
anticipating
Yep,
some of
All
Zach
in
is
that.
good
saying we have
time.
to wrap it up.
Right? He's just me sitting at his desk like, "It's happening. It's happening."
He'll have headphones on though, so he won't know. He won't even hear you when you
It's
do it.
possible. It's happened a few
Alright.
times. Yep, thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Logan.
All right. Yep, I'm gonna go write the Great American
Sounds like
Novel
a
with
good plan.
ChatGPT.
Bye-bye.
Oh my god. Can't wait to read it.
All right, bye guys. That's it for another episode of Cocktails, Tangents, and Answers.
We hope it was as much fun to listen to as it was to make.
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at RichMackey. I try not to make it too difficult. It's just my name. And you can find our agency at Antidote_71. That's ANTIDOTE_71 on Twitter and Instagram as well.
And you can find me at home sipping a craft cocktail prepared by my in-home bartender. It's my husband.
We'll be back with another episode every other week and a whole new cocktail recipe, plenty more tangents, and of course, answers to those pressing marketing questions.
And if you'd like to send us a question, you can go to ctapodcast.live to send us an email.
Or you can call our hotline at 402-718-9971 and leave us a voicemail. Your questions might be used for future episodes of the podcast.
For now, like and subscribe and tune in next time.